company dipanggil Sangfor dengan tajuknya Intelligent Cyber Threat. Jadi dari Sangfor kita ada dua representative, iaitu Mr. Daniel C and also Mr. Wilson Yet. So saya serahkan terus kepada Mr. Daniel C. Mr. Daniel C.
Okay. Alright. Okay, thank you. Selamat sejahtera. Okay, everyone. Okay, good afternoon. So my name is Daniel and I'm from pre-sales team from Sangfor Malaysia. So today I would like to introduce our latest solution, and the name is called Sangfor Intelligent Threat Detection and Response. Yeah, so quite long for the solution's name. So without any further delay, let's kick off. So for this the agenda for today. So we will have a brief background, background introduction, and also what kind of challenges that we are facing in every industry, especially for the cybersecurity. And part 2 is about our solutions, and part 3 is we also have the solutions to cope with ransomware, and part 4 is about multi-branches solutions. So inside of in our solutions, in our technology update session today, we will have 3 subtopics covered in total. All right. If you do have any question, feel free to type in the chat box, and my colleague, Mr. Wilson, he will try his best to answer. And after this session, we will have the Q&A session. All right. So as we know nowadays, there are hundreds and thousands of unknown threats nowadays. And those viruses, they are getting smarter and they will be evolving. So just like the pandemic of COVID-19. So maybe today you will see the first version. So maybe after a few months, you will see those mutation of the virus. So same goes to the cyber threat. So nowadays, a lot of threats, they are getting more sophisticated and they are getting more smarter. So let's have a look on what kind of security operations that we are facing nowadays. So first, new unknown threat, which is hard to detect. Especially for those for the ransomware. I believe when we mention the word ransomware, this is a very disastrous situation for every industry. All right. So because as we know, ransomware, you need to pay by using Bitcoin. No, we don't even know who is the founder of the Bitcoin, even though the name Satoshi Nakamoto, but we doesn't know whether he is a real Japanese or whatsoever. All right, and another thing is zero-day vulnerability. So for those unknown threats, maybe those hackers, they found out the loophole from one of the vulnerable application first, but without the security whitehead discovering, so there will be a risk and vulnerabilities over there. So another one is that insider threats are hard to detect. So there you can imagine nowadays a lot of organizations, they are practicing BYOD. Or a lot of university, they allow their students to bring their own. The BYOD, it stands for bring your own device. So for the organizations, the employee or the students from the university, they can just bring along their mobile devices, their laptop, their tablet, but we doesn't know whether their devices that they are carrying is infected with any malware or virus or not. So which is out of control. So in that case, this is what we call insider threat, hard to detect. All right. So normally we will imagine in a traditional way. I have the antivirus in my endpoint, and I have the gateway firewall deployed at the gateway part. So that's safe for me. But for this kind of scenario, especially BYOD practice, these are kind of out of control. So if anything goes wrong, so it will directly affect the rest of the endpoints or those critical assets in a corporate network. So next. If you can't see the assets, you can't see the risk. So this part is emphasizing on the asset identifications. So in an organization, the first thing that we have to do, when we are performing security operations is that asset identifications. So we have to know how many assets that we have, how many endpoints, how many web servers that we have. All right. So all of a sudden, if we can see there are a lot of unknown hosts or unknown machines, that connected into our servers, into our corporate network, that means there must be something suspicious or abnormal. All right, so for our solutions, we have the capability to discover all those active devices or inactive devices, okay? And then we have the capability to run through a proactive scanning to see whether your critical assets, especially for those web servers, your database servers, or any other servers or systems, whether they have some of the vulnerabilities. For example, if your web server, which is still using the outdated Apache version, so this could be vulnerable to some of the attacks. So we have the visibility on this, and then we will notify the user to do the security patching, to perform the system hardening, and so on. So as the saying goes, prevention is always better than cure. So for our solution, we can even discover security incidents, exploitations. So besides of that, we can also discover if you have any weaknesses or vulnerabilities in your system. All right. So even it is not yet to be a security incident. Okay. So the next one. Okay. In a traditional way, for the security analysts, when they want to do a security operation, okay, or the forensic investigations, so the things that they need to do is to extract all those massive logs from from various of security appliances like firewall, web application firewall, IPS, antivirus, and so on. So as you can imagine, this massive amount of logs, all right, every day. So there will be the possibility of getting false alarm and false positive and so on. And then the persons, okay, it has to spend a lot of time, okay, so which is very time consuming to analyze all the logs. And last but not least is about lack of correlations. So since all those logs are actually come from different appliances, okay, different security appliance, so which is lack of correlations. So maybe we get to know A and Z, but we doesn't know what is happening exactly in between of the A until starting from B onward until Z. So this is the pain points, okay, that normally faced by every industry, especially for the security operations issue. So as we mentioned, okay, there are several of pain points. So all these issues could lead to the low efficiency on the detections and slow response. Because, okay, let's say for time consuming, okay, we need to extract all the logs and then to do the normalizations, to analyze the logs, to make sure that all the logs are not false alarm, okay, and so on. So when the time, okay, we identify, okay, this is a risk or security incidents, and then we do the response. So this is kind of slow, okay, for the overall security posture. All right, so okay, I believe all of us, we also heard from the news, okay, a few weeks ago from Anonymous Malaysia. So they want to launch the exploitation, especially for the higher education sector and also government sector. So we can say that no one is actually safe from the exploitations or those hundreds and thousands of threats. All right, so that's why we have to really focusing on this cybersecurity issue. So for our solutions, we are actually transforming the passive defense into a proactive defense. So the definition for the passive defense can be very reactive. All right, so kind of passive response. So for example, like in an organization, if anything happens, then only the security analyst or the IR team, the incident response team, they start to do something. All right, so the framework of proactive defense is actually practicing the continuously monitoring, 24/7, okay, non-stop monitoring. Okay, so we will keep receiving all the logs and then to receive all the mirror traffic, okay, from our flow collector devices. So from that, we can know, okay, what is happening, okay, in terms of east-west traffic and also south-north traffic. So we will have the full visibility, and then with the help of our threat intelligence and also our AI-based detection engines, so we will have, we call it advanced detection method, and then we will have the correlations. So the consequence, okay, the benefits can be shortened. One of the benefits is shorten the overall detections and the response time. Okay, so let's drill down. and look at, okay, what are the details of this. Okay, our Sangfor Intelligence Cyber Threat Detection and Response. Alright, so okay, as I mentioned, we have our in-house developed threat intelligence, and we call it Mdr X. Okay, so inside of it, in our the cloud server of the Mdr X, which is located in Hong Kong, we will gather all the source, okay, the signature from all the appliance, the security appliance that we deploy in all the regions. Okay, so for information, we have our offices, we have our office in many regions like like Korea, all right, Myanmar, Thailand, Singapore, and so on. So as long as those devices is deployed and having the internet connectivity, so we will get to know the latest signature from the CNC, okay, or the botnet, or any other malicious IP or domain. Okay, so besides of the threat intelligence that we mentioned, and we have the Sangfor Engine Zero. This Sangfor Engine Zero is also our in-house developed AI-based detection engine. Okay, so this is how it works. So in our firewall, we will have the local security database. So if if the firewall, they can't determine whether this certain unknown IP or the domain, it is malicious or not, okay, from our local security database, and then it will go through the threat intelligence, okay, so to determine, okay, whether this is malicious or not, and then it will get the firewall will get the feedback, and then it will do the action. So for your information, our Sangfor Engine Zero is also one of the engine that deploy on, sharing the signature with the VirusTotal. So we actually have the collaboration with VirusTotal, sharing the signature with each other. Okay, so when we in this solution, okay, Sangfor Intelligence Cyber Threat Detection Response, the tools that we are using is called Cyber Command. Okay, so in this Cyber Command, it has three concepts, which are threat detections, threat huntings, and also response. So okay, we start from detections. So we are able to monitor all those internal traffic. We are able to gather all the logs from the security appliances, and then okay, with the help of our global threat intelligence, which are the Mdr X and also the Engine Zero that we mentioned. So we are able to identify those unknown threats. So for example, those sophisticated attacks or exploitations like slow brute force attack or DNS tunneling. So with all these threats, actually in our this platform, we are capable to detect it. Okay, so we also able to identify all those existing risks and vulnerabilities inside of your network system. So after we detect something, the next thing that we have to do is to uncover the hacker's entry point and to find out as much as IOC as possible. So the IOC is actually stands for indicator of compromise. So like hints or the clues, okay, that we can find. Let's say if we found out, okay, there are a lot of brute force attacks towards my web servers. So we want to see, okay, when is the timestamp that this incident started, and where is the attack path, what kind of the port numbers that we are targeting. So let's say like port 445, and then we know this is SMB brute force attack. So from there we are doing threat huntings, okay, trying to analyze as much as possible, okay, to know what is the behavior, okay, by doing the analysis. So after that is next is about threat response. So remediations and recommendations, okay, will be attached together with the report that generate from the cyber command. So okay, by doing the correlations, okay, this is the one of the highlight. We are able to do the correlations and perform the correlated response, okay, towards our firewall and also our EDR. We call it endpoint secure. Okay, so let's go down into deeper. So as you can see now, okay, this one is a high level network topology. Okay, so when we mention, okay, the solution's name, so by default it is coming together with two appliances. So one is what we call STA, and another one is called Cyber Command. Okay, so this STA, okay, the job of the STA is actually it will be tapping into the core switch and keep listening to all the mirror traffic that sends from the core switch. And then it will do a round of filtering, and then it will send those traffic pattern into the cyber command to do the further analysis and process. So you can imagine, right, this STA is like a flow collector or sensor. Okay, so you can imagine like in your residential area in a taman, there are multiple of CCTV, okay, in every floor. So this STA, just like the CCTV that collect all that, like the CCTV, okay, that collect the real-time video clips, and then it will send back to the centralized surveillance system, okay, to perform further processing. Okay, so inside of the surveillance system, okay, it will have a lot of modules like motion detection feature and so on. So same goes to our solutions. So we will have one STA over here to get all the mirror traffic, okay, the internal traffic, and then it will send the traffic patterns back to the cyber command. And then besides of gathering the mirror traffic, but we can also gather the logs from the firewall and also the endpoints from the endpoint secure. Okay, so in that case, we can have the full visibility. So you can imagine, like, let's say, like we mentioned just now, okay, BYOD scenario. One of the employee, he's carrying his laptop with the infected malware, and then he just bring it back to the company and then just connect to the corporate network. So in that case, okay, the traffic, I mean the malware, they are trying to exploit the servers which is located at the data center. So in that case, the traffic flow will go through, start from the workstation segment, following by the core switch, and then towards the data center. Okay, so in that case, this is what we call lateral traffic or lateral attacks, or we also call it east-west traffic. So in that case, you will have the blind spot if you are just depending on the firewall, okay, the gateway firewall to do the protections. Okay, so so in that case, you will have the full visibility by relying on the logs and also the mirroring traffic. And one of the advantage of the deployment is that there are no downtime, okay, because we are not doing in the inline mode or the bridge mode, okay, to have the interference for your network architecture. So basically, this is agentless, so you don't have to install any agent or any agent-based software, okay, in the server or the endpoints in order to achieve the detection method. Because we are actually for our solutions, we are positioning as a NTA. So NTA is actually stands for Network Traffic Analysis. So okay, besides of doing NTA, we are also gathering the logs from the firewall and also the endpoint. Okay. Yeah, so like just now, okay, we mentioned we are the cyber command able to do the correlated response. So let's say, okay, after we analyze the traffic, we discover that okay, there are some of the suspicious activity which is malicious. So we can instruct the firewall or the endpoint secure. Okay, you can imagine the endpoint secure is like EDR, is our Sangfor EDR solutions. Okay, to do the response. So we can instruct the firewall or the endpoint secure, our EDR, to do the response accordingly. Okay. All right. So okay, let's have a look on this diagram. So let's say like the scenario of multi-branches. Okay. So let's say in your HQ, you have all those critical servers. Okay, in your DMZ, let's say you have your internal server in different zone. Okay. So from there, this is the branch. Okay, branch A and branch B. So you can have multiple STA over here, and then you will have one cyber command over here. And then in your HQ, you also have one unit of STA. So we are tapping, okay, you can see there are two mirroring interface over here. So this STA can actually have the visibility on all those east-west traffic, okay, from the internal server zone and also the office network. And then we can, this cyber command, you can imagine this is like a centralized management platform, like a data brain in your network environment, which can collect all the logs and also the traffic from the STA and also the firewall, okay, from different branches and also wherever it located, okay. So in that case, let's say if your endpoints or those server, they are installed with our EDR, okay, our endpoint secure, so we can do the response. So the difference is that if without installing the endpoint secure, we still have the visibility. Just that at the response part, you have to do it manually. Okay, so let's say if you install the endpoint secure, we can do the correlated response. So for the security analyst, they can just log in into the cyber command to see whatever the security incidents in the network environment. Instead of they have to extract the logs, okay, from various of the security appliance. Okay. All right. So okay, when I believe most of you, if you heard that this solution can get the logs, okay, from like firewall and endpoint secure, you will think about like SIEM solutions. Is this SIEM solutions? But the answer is no, because for our solutions, okay, as we mentioned, we are positioning as NTA, network traffic analysis, but also we able to get the logs, but only limited to the logs from our Sangfor firewall and also our Sangfor endpoint secure, our Sangfor EDR solutions. But in the SIEM, they are able to collect the logs from various of third-party servers, network appliance, okay, security appliances, and so on. So actually, there are pros and cons, okay, from in between of the SIEM solutions and ours, okay, because SIEM solutions, okay, they are depending on the logs collections. Let's say like just now we are mentioning, okay, this kind of scenario, they are going internal to internal, like an east-west traffic. So in that case, they are not go through the firewall. So in that case, you have no logs generation. Okay, so there will be the possibility of getting blind spot, okay, for the east-west traffic. In that case, the benefits of our solution is that we can have the full visibility, okay, because we are doing the NTA, the network traffic analysis, all right, and also for our in terms of deployment, for our solutions, it's not really that complicated, okay. So we are kind of simpler in terms of deployments. All right, so let's have a look on the highlights. Okay, what is the difference in between the before and the after? Okay, so okay, before that, okay, as we mentioned, the security engineer, they have to get the logs, okay, from the EDR, from the firewall, and so on. But now they can just gather the logs, okay, from the call switch, because we are doing NTA, and also the logs from EDR and firewall. And then if necessary, we can do the automatic response accordingly. Okay, so previously, okay, let's say the customer, they are just relying on the traditional firewall, which is just depending on the signature-based detection engines. So let's say if they are facing any more sophisticated or evolving virus variant, so the virus can easily bypass the firewall and doing some of the malicious actions like data exfiltration and so on. But in our cyber command, we are integrated with the Engine 0 and also the NeurX we mentioned earlier. And also we have the modules, we call it UEBA, User Entity Behavior Analysis. So this one, it will have the like a machine learning. So it will learn from what is the behavior from from the user behavior. So let's say out of sudden, okay, there are some extraordinary situation or some of the abnormal situation. So okay, we have the awareness of this. So one of the example can be like, okay, normally for this web server, the IP, the geographical IP that log in is from Malaysia, but suddenly, okay, out of sudden, there's a IP, the geolocation is from US. Okay, so from there, okay, this is kind of abnormal. Okay, so we will have the awareness on this. Okay, we call it like abnormal login, abnormal IP login. So this is one of the examples that UEBA can detect this kind of abnormal situation or suspicious activities. Okay. All right. So this one, okay. Previously, okay, let's say like BYOD, those out of control devices can be overlooked or can be neglected. So after the implementation of this, like we mentioned, the cyber command, it can do the proactive scanning, okay, to discover, okay, let's say like if you have any high risky port that remain open, or you have some of the vulnerabilities exist in your environment. Okay, so in that case, we have the feature, we call it auto discovery. So you can do the proactive scanning, okay, regularly to make sure that all of your web servers or your critical assets is in the best practice. Okay. Right, so in summary, the coverage that we can cover is south-north traffic, east-west traffic. You're able to get the logs from the gateway firewall, the Sangfor firewall, and also from the endpoints. So with the help of the threat intelligence, and also the Ueba, and also the Engine Zero, the AI-based detection engines, we can detect those known and unknown attacks. Okay. Right. So after, okay, as we mentioned, okay, we can detect those security incidents, how many exploitation that we are facing, how many attacks that we are facing, okay, in this month. But the thing that we have to do is that, okay, threat hunting, the process, we call it threat hunting. Just like the importance of tracking the patient zero for the pandemic of COVID-19. We have the built-in tool, the built-in threat hunting tools. We call it Golden Eye. All right. So as you can see, in this this one is the sample, okay, from our Golden Eye, the Golden Eye feature, which is belongs to the Cyber Command, okay, that we introduced just now. So in this Golden Eye, you can see all the traffic flow in between all the hosts, okay, and the servers is being visualized. So from here, you can see all the relationship of the traffic flows. So let's say for this one, the red one is categorized as an extremely dangerous asset. This one is a compromised asset. All right. So from here, I can share with you, okay, one of our interesting story, okay, from during one of our POC experience. So okay, for the customer, customer, previously, okay, he is facing like a brute force attack. He can see a lot of brute force attacks, okay, in the server's event logs, okay, from, okay, let's say like this one. This one is the victim. The servers that we are mentioned is having the brute force attack from this attacker, okay. So what they do, okay, they perform the virus remover. So they use their EDR solutions, their own EDR solutions to run the scanning, and then they remove the malware that initiate the brute force attack. But after weeks, the same thing happened again. So at the time, we have the honor, okay, to have the meeting with them, and then they voice out with us, okay, they are facing these difficulties, and then we promote, okay, we suggest to have this solution, Cyber Command, to implement inside of their environment. So after a few days, we find out that, okay, this is the victim, right, we mentioned, and this is the attacker. But behind of the attacker, there is another connections, okay, that established from public IP. Okay, the IP is actually from China. Okay, so hereby we can conclude that the attacker, okay, so far, okay, we can have the conclusion is that this one attacker is not really the culprit of initiate the brute force attack towards their server, but this one is actually controlled by the attacker, okay, behind of it. So this one, okay, can be, we can say like a zombie or a botnet, okay. So we can have the assumption is that we can have the conclusion is that the hacker, they are very smart. They won't launch the exploitation directly towards the server, their target. They will control one of the compromised hosts and do the actions that they want, because they are trying to distract the forensic team. They are trying to procrastinate the team, okay, of finding out, okay, who are the real attacker, okay. And then if we find out that, we can cut off we can disable the ports, and then he has no longer, okay, has the connection back to the internal network. Okay, so we can conclude that, okay, sometimes what we see at the surface is not the truth. All right, so this is important. This is the importance of doing the threat hunting to find out the patient zero, who are the real person that actually firstly initiate the things. Okay, initiate the exploitation or the attack. Okay, let's say, okay, we drill down on this. Let's say we click onto this a specific host. We can find out that, okay, in a specific exploitation event or activity, how much bandwidth utilization that involved. let's say, okay, throughout the last 7 days, okay, on this specific host, it has 0.41 GB outbound traffic. So which is very abnormal. Let's say for a server that usually not really used much by the internal staff and so on. So this can be a very abnormal situation. And hereby we can see what are the IPs that they are having, okay, that they are having the contact, what kind of the application or the host, the applications or port numbers they are using. Okay, and hereby we have the discovery on the assets and the vulnerabilities. Okay, like weak password, any vulnerabilities that you have, any high risky port that remain open, because as we know, ransomware they will spread themselves, okay, through like SMB port or the RDP port. So we have all this visibility. Okay, so this one is the example of our cyber command as well. So you can see, okay, this one is the IP, the severity is compromised. So hereby we have the kill chain determinations, okay, what kind of activities that this specific host involve. And in terms of timestamp, how long is this security incidents, okay, being persist. So as we can see, there are different severity level. So for the security analysts, they can prioritize their efforts and the times, okay, on those compromised assets which are more in need, okay, to do the response and so on. So this is the example of the reports that generate from the cyber command. So from here, we can see the host, okay, it suffer from the Microsoft 08067 vulnerability. And then with the forensic proof, and then in terms of the suggestion, we will have the security URL to do the security patching. Okay. So in terms of response, okay, we have the remediations and recommendations plan attached together with the reports that generate from the cyber command, and then we can do the actions like this one. We can shut down those CNC connections, block those open ports or the attacker's IP, and set the access control list through the firewall, and then we can do like remote scanning, and then to do the virus removal or quarantine through the endpoint secure. Okay, this is our EDR solutions. So let's have the overview of the advantages. Okay, we can detect those unknown threats, okay, and vulnerabilities, active preventions. Okay, like just now we can transforming from passive into a proactive, okay, framework, and then faster response, and then we can have professional security consultations, because okay, we have the additional service, we call it MDR. So this MDR is actually stands for managed detection response. So you can imagine like this one is like a managed security service for the customer. So we will use the tool, okay, the cyber command as the tool, and then we have our dedicated security consultation team to carry out this activity, okay, to proceed with the managed service for customer. So the components of the MDR service, okay, these are including vulnerability and threat analysis, okay, attack event analysis, remediations, okay, and also Sangfor care service. This one is like 24/7. We have a dedicated SSM, we call it Security Service Manager, okay, to serve the customer if they have any technical difficulties or any doubt, okay. All right. So and also we have incident response service for customer. So for the case study, okay, actually JPJ and also Icelangor, they are actually using our solutions, the cyber command. Okay, so for JPJ, they are subscribing for our MDR service. All right. So okay, here we can have like a 9 minutes of the demonstration video. Okay, for the cyber command. So after that, we have the quiz session. We have the quiz session. Okay, so for the winner, okay, you can have the voucher. You can have the voucher. Okay, so let's go for
the functions of Sangfor Cyber Command.
So let's go for the video first. All right.
Today we will demonstrate the functions of Sangfor Cyber Command, our intelligence response platform designed to detect malicious traffic, attacks, incidents, vulnerabilities, and weaknesses within the system. Let's take a look at this high-level network topology. On the left, we can see that our attacker machine is a Kali Linux. The IP address is 10.10.30.100. It's located in our user section VLAN. On the right is a Windows Server 2012 with an IP address of 10.10.20.100 located in our server farm. Both machines are on different VLANs under Sangfor's internal demo network. Today we will launch a brute force attack and port scanning as our security incidents. We hope to show how a vulnerability exploitation and suspicious activity within our network is handled by Cyber Command, which should detect east-west traffic and lateral movement of the malicious files. First, let's look at our attacking machine, with a script prepared for port scanning, which uses an Nmap tool, in addition to an FTP brute force script to perform the brute force attack. Let's start the attack. The time is 5:06 p.m. If we open Cyber Command, you can see the attacker machine with an IP address of 10.10.30.100. Today, we will focus on port scanning and FTP brute force attacks. If we look at the last detected time under port scanning, we see that the time is 4:37 p.m. and the FTP brute force last detected was at 4:41 p.m. Remember, we launched the attack at 5:06 p.m. After a few minutes, you can see the attacker machine port scanning was last detected at 5:06 p.m. and the FTP brute force shows last detected at 5:10 p.m. We can see that the FTP brute force attack takes some time. If we look at the victim machine, 10.10.20.100, we can see the FTP brute force attack last detected time was also 5:10 p.m. As you can see, Cyber Command is capable of detecting lateral attacks, port scanning attacks, and suspicious activity in moments, even if it's not a security incident yet, but Cyber Command still detects it quickly. The next phase is threat hunting. After we detect something in the network, we must drill down and analyze the behavior of the security incident. First of all, let's explore the victim machine 10.10.20.100. You can see here the program is very user-friendly and helps the user to visualize everything. Here you can see there's an arrow pointing to the destination or the source IP of our attacking machine 10.10.30.100. Here you can see our victim's IP address, 10.10.20.100. You can see the attack type includes scan vulnerabilities and exploitation, port scanning, and brute force attack. Here you can see the date and time of the incident. Here you can see the description, scan vulnerabilities, and Nmap scanner attack. This is the exploitation tool launched by the Kali Linux. Even though this isn't a security incident yet, there's no reason for an internal host or server to perform this type of action, making its actions important to detect quickly. Let's drill down and explore the brute force attack activity. We can see the attack type is brute force attack, and you can see the time of the attack and source or destination IP. Here's a clue. This machine has suffered 75 brute force attacks per minute. This is the FTP brute force exploitation. We can see that Cyber Command helps simplify threat hunting with visualized tools that allow you to drill down and explore the details of attacks. Let's go to the correlated response, a highlight of the Sangfor Cyber Command solution. Here's the victim's machine. We want to take action to isolate this kind of connection from the attacker. we select Correlated Response. To perform this type of response, you need to install Sangfor Endpoint Secure Agent on your endpoint or servers to get a correlated response with Cyber Command. As you can see, we're still able to ping from the Kali Linux to the victim's Windows Server 2012. We see the correlated response here. We have a few options. We will select Correlated Blocking, which blocks all outbound access from the host, totally isolating the victim from the attacker. Now we will perform further investigation. Here we will perform a test. Choose Sangfor Endpoint Secure IP 10.10.20.200 and press Start. We've totally isolated the endpoint by cutting off inbound and outbound connection. You can see the lockup here is 1 day. This is one way of manually correlating. Here we can see the pinging process is paused. The Kali Linux is no longer able to reach the Windows server. Let's explore the Cyber Command response policy. You can define your own response policies with Cyber Command. Choose your desired event type. Here we're focusing on brute force attack, which means if there are any brute force attacks detected in Cyber Command, you can instruct your other appliances like NGAF and Endpoint Secure to respond accordingly. Here we click Next to get a correlated block to achieve total isolation from the attacker. When Cyber Command detects an attack, I choose the device I want to correlate with. Here it's Endpoint Secure, and the direction is all, which includes inbound and outbound traffic. Here you can see the status is enabled and the hit is 2. Let's begin the attack. You can see the attacker is still able to ping. The attack has been launched. The attack sequence has been paused. It is verified unpingable, and the connection has been totally cut off. We can see within this policy the number of hits is 3, and the number of isolated files is 1. This is the IP of the victim, isolated by Cyber Command, while the brute force attack is addressed. Finally, let's explore Cyber Command detection. First, we will decompress the ransomware file White Rose. Here we have the Endpoint Secure agent enabled. We expect to see Endpoint Secure scan for viruses, isolate them, and repair them. We will use Endpoint Secure to scan the folders containing ransomware files. Once the scan is complete, you can see that Endpoint Secure has detected the viruses. Here you can see the security incidents. Select any security incident and choose Fix. After the command to fix is issued, you can see that the viruses have been automatically resolved. Thank you for joining us today to see a bit more about how Cyber Command Correlated Response can protect your network from malicious threat. For more information about Sangfor and their wide range of correlated security solutions,
Okay, all right. So guys, okay, after the demonstration video, here we can have a very thrilling session. Okay, the quiz. So okay, let's have the 30 seconds of time. Okay, so you can click, you can scan this QR code to enter the Kahoot, and then and my colleague will release the pin. Okay, the game pin number to access into the quiz. All right. So for the winner, for the top 3 winner, okay, you will have the prize, okay, of getting some voucher. So yeah, so without any further delay, I'll pass the stage to my colleague, Mr. Wilson.
Okay, hi. Everyone can see my screen?
Yes.
So, okay. So this is so this is the campaign number. So it's the 2155912. So
Wilson,
guys,
not yet, Wilson.
oh, not yet.
Yeah, still waiting for your screen.
Okay, now can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, this is the campaign number. So it's 2155912. So if you just now do not scan the QR code, so you can open your browser and key in www.kahoot.it. So you bring it to the Kahoot page and then just key in the campaign number. So we will start after 1 minute. So let you guys join. So make sure you're using your real name for your survey form. So if you not yet fill out our Sangfor survey form, later you can go to visit our booth and then fill out our Sangfor survey form, so that we can after the winner come up, we will know who are you, and then so we can distribute our shopping voucher to you. So now let 30 minutes. 30 seconds, sorry. Yeah, 30 seconds. So okay. I see a lot of participants. So who haven't not yet, please join together to play this quiz. So we will choose 3 winners on this quiz. So anyone want to join to us? We will start 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we will start our quiz now. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Just proceed.
Okay, so I will start the quiz now. Or okay, I will start the quiz. So first question is a 1 mark question. So there is not a correct answer. So you just choose any question to let you try first. So later we'll. Okay, this one is 1 hour question. So you can choose any question first. Later will come up a real question. Real. So let's 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, 1 more question. So next we'll go to the real question. So watch carefully. So how can Neural X and Engine 0 help in the network security aspect? So we have the 4 answer. This is a multiple answer. So be careful. We have 1 minute. So we have the detection on unknown and known threat, protection customer from zero-day exploration, command vulnerability exploration, cover your encrypted PC or server. Another answer is collect log from the various of third-party application, appliance and device. So, which one is the real answer? Let's see. So the correct answer is detection and unknown and unknown threat, and then another one is to protect customer from zero-day exploitation, common vulnerability exposure. So let's go to see who are the winner. So the third winner is Kamalia, second is Shima, and the first winner is Azrina. So these three of them will later make sure you have already filled out Sangfor survey form that so we can find who are you and then how we can send the shopping voucher to you. So for the first three winners, okay. So now we pass back to my colleague Daniel, continue to present.
All right. So we left another two subtopics. Okay, for this sharing. So okay, ransomware. Okay, I noticed that actually few of you choose the options of there's a possibility of doing the decryption. Maybe there is, but there are most of the vendors. I believe that they will say, okay, we are not guarantee. Okay, we are not responsible to doing the decryption, because you can imagine, like, let's say a vendor, they can do decryption. So you might think about the conspiracy, whether this vendor is actually launching the exploitation, the ransomware towards me, and then they are trying to help me. So in that case, most of the vendors, they won't like touching like to say responsible, okay, to do the decryption and so on. Okay, but we can here to provide the solutions, okay, to maximize your protection and then to minimize the likelihood of getting ransomware. So okay, now the part 3, this subtopic will be touching on the ransomware solutions. So let's explore how is Sangfor Solutions on the ransomware. All right, so as we mentioned, okay, the components that in the previous solutions is having a cyber command, the STA, and also together with the firewall and also the endpoint secure. So the endpoint secure, you can imagine like this is our EDR solution. This is a agent-based software to be installed in the servers and also the endpoints, okay, any Windows, okay, PC. So you can imagine like most of the vendors, okay, they have the firewall, they have their own EDR. So what is the matter? What is the big matter? What is the uniqueness inside of this? So for us, okay, we have our gateway firewall, next generation application firewall. We have our endpoint secure solution as well. Just that, the highlight over here, we able to do the correlations. So what does that mean? Let's say like, okay, for the firewall, we discover that one of the endpoint, they are initiating the connections towards some of the CNC, command and control, okay, websites or any malicious IP, trying to download some malware, okay. So from there, okay, from here, if we have the correlations, we're able to see where is the files, okay, which of the files are actually the culprits of initiate the connections towards those malicious domains or URL. So without correlations, so normally at the surface of the firewall, you can only see, okay, this IP address was trying to initiate the malicious connection, okay, that's all. But if you have correlations, okay, let's drill down what we can see, okay, if we have the correlations in between of the gateway firewall and the endpoint secure. Okay, so all right, here, okay, this is the interface of our firewall. We can see the time, okay, the date, the exactly date and time of the CNC communications. Okay, the time, okay, there's 1 times. Okay, so if we drill down into the logs, okay, so we can see the malicious URL. Okay, womanempowermentpakistan.com. So the threat level is considered as high. The action is denied, and you can see here the detection type is in the cloud. So which means, okay, this is how it works for our firewall. So firstly, those unknown IP or the unknown URL, okay, we can't make sure that this is malicious or not, whether this is malicious or not, okay, from our local security database. So if we can't determine from our local database, and then we will send this, okay, this signature to our cloud, our threat intelligence, our NeuroX, to do the sandboxing, to see what is the behavior of, okay, this URL, and to check from the whether is there any other source that stated that this is malicious. So if so, we will have the action deny. So maybe sorry. So next you can see we also have our threat intelligence web portal. So as if the virus total, you can put the MD5, you can put any domain or URL, okay, which you think is skeptical. Then you can put inside to run through the scan to see, okay, whether they are malicious, whether some of the vendors, okay, they are categorized this one as malicious as well. So okay, if you go to the virus total, you can actually see the Sangfor engine 0. So for our engine, we are also one of the contributor, okay, to feed the signatures on the virus total. Okay, so next, as we know, okay, most of the firewall, they can see at the layer, okay, to know the IP address which is initiate the connection toward the woman empowerment, this malicious URL. But the interesting that over here is that in with the correlations, so at the firewall layer, you can actually see which are those files, okay, are the culprits of initiate the connections toward this URL. So we found out that there are actually 18 files, okay, 18.dll files, the dynamic link library files, which are categorized as malicious, okay, because they are trying to initiate the connection towards this URL. So 18 of them. So besides of all this malware, also we also can discover those Trojan. All right, so we can do the actions over here. Okay, let's say you can do the whitelist. Let's say, okay, there are the possibility of the false positive, okay, and then you can do the action of quarantine. So over the layer at the surface of the firewall, you can do the actions directly instead of, okay, you have to approach to the endpoints physically one by one, okay, to run the scan, to run the scanning, full scan, and then you do the virus removal. So at this time, the firewall itself, okay, we can do the actions over here, okay, and then okay at the behind, okay, at the back end, the endpoints, they will start to run the scanning at the background, okay, and then to do the actions accordingly. So okay, so the concept that we are using, okay, to prevent the ransomware is called Honeypot. So we will have the hidden bait files in front and also behind of all those directory, okay, for the personal files. So let's say, touch wood to say, one day there are some virus variant trying to run the encryption. So it will first touch onto the bait file first, the hidden bait files, instead of the real file from instead of the personal files from the user. So at the case, okay, since it trigger on the bait files, right? So we have the visibility on the hash ID, and then we know where is the location. So at the time, we can have the feature, we call it one-click kill. So in one PC, okay, we confirm that, okay, this exe is actually a malware. It's a malicious software and a virus, Trojan, or whatsoever. So we can click the action, okay, to do the quarantine or virus removal. So same goes to the rest of the PC or the servers that install with the endpoint secure. So we have the feature, we call it one-click kill. So you can just one click, and then it will kill, okay, it will run through the scanning, the full scan on the rest of the PC and the servers, okay, to make sure that this certain MD5 from the exe file, okay, the malware, the malicious software is scanned and also be quarantined. And besides of that, we also have the feature, we call it micro segmentation. So from here, okay, you can define the policy to do the segregation, to do the segmentations on different zones. So okay, we also have the intuitive GUI for here. So we can visualize all the traffic flows. Okay, let's say for the green one are those legal traffic, and those red one are those illegal traffic. Let's say from let's say for the HR segment, they have no right to access into the server farm, the critical server farm. So if the PC from the HR segment, they're trying to access into another segment, which they are not supposed to go. So from here, we can have the visibility as well. So for the RAID 1, okay, so you can drill down and see, okay, what is going on for the RAID 1, okay. That means someone was attempt to go against the rules and the policy. So for our ransomware solutions, we have MOSTI, Ministry of Science and Technology and Innovations. They are using our solutions. Okay, so for the gateway, okay, they have the firewall, and then at the endpoints and the servers they are installed with the endpoint secure agent. Okay. All right. So for those participants, if you are not fast enough, like to reach the top 3 just now, hereby we have another quiz for you. So you can also open your browser, go into the Kahoot, the website, or you can scan this QR code, and then after 30 seconds, my colleague will publish the game pin number. All right. So we have one last subtopic before we end, and then we can have the Q&A session. So pass to you, Wilson. Let's carry on with the next quiz for the ransomware.
Okay, here I will release the game pin. So here is the game pin number is 4061330. So okay, can you see my screen? Okay, I have a lot of participants coming, so it means can see my screen. So same like just now, we have 1 minute. We will start after 1 minute. So the winner, just now I forgot to explain the price for each winner. So first winner will get 100 ringgit shopping voucher, and second place will get 50 ringgit of shopping voucher, and third will get 20 ringgit of the shopping voucher. So don't miss it. So this one will direct go to the question. So will not have the warm-up question again anymore. So we will 10 seconds. We'll start. We will start. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we will start the quiz now. So the question will come up. So second question. 2, 1. So which are the components included in the part 3 ransomware? So also is the this one is the single tracer. So already. So less 10 seconds. Five seconds. 3, 2, 1. So which one is the correct answer? So the answer is NGAF and endpoint secure. So we go to see who are the top three winners. So let's go to Third winner is Zakia. Second is Iza. And first one is Afza. So congratulations for those winners. So same, don't forget, go to Sangfor booth and register the survey form so that we will know who are the winners. And then we can distribute good to you. So I will pass to my colleague Daniel to continue his presentation. And then we also have left last question, so don't forget to join.
Wilson and Daniel.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
the organizer is giving another 10 minutes extra emergency time, okay?
Yeah,
Okay, okay, sure.
Okay, thanks, thank you.
All right. So for next, okay, we have multi branches. As we mentioned, okay, we have the firewall, and then we have some other products. So you can imagine, right? Okay, in different branches, okay, they have many of the firewalls. So these are the functionalities that we can achieve in our firewall. So okay, we have the central manager. We call it BBC. The appliance, okay, BBC is called Business Branch Center. So for multi-branches, you can imagine, let's say you want to distribute the security policy, you want to distribute the bandwidth management policy, which is very hard, and also to do the firmware upgrade, and also to do the licensing. So hereby we have the BBC as a central manager to do all these actions. So you can have a central, you can imagine like this BBC is a centralized management platform. Okay, so you can receive the intelligent alerts. Let's say let's say if some of the branches is having downtime or having like abnormal system resources, like exceeding bandwidth or any system resources, so you can have the alerts. So you can perform unified license management. Okay, you can just you can just access into any device without insert the password and username again and again to do the firmware upgrade, policy distribution, and also you can see this one. This one is a map-based visualization. So you can like having the VPN connections, and then you can see in a more visualized way. So this one is the interface of our BBC. So as you can see, this one, how many of them is online, is staying online, how many of them is online offline, and how many offline online users. And you can see this one is a geographical based map. So showing that where is your branches, and how is the condition of the system resources. So for the case study, we have POJ, Palace of Justice, and also same goes to JBJ. They have deployed more than 160 units of firewall in all over the branches in nationwide, and also with one BBC as a central manager to do the centralizations management. Okay, so yeah, so we have one last quiz, for you regarding on this multi-branches topic. So you can just open a browser and go to the Kahoot, and Wilson will show you the game pin number. So I will pass back to Wilson.
Wait a moment. Daniel will show the slide first, and I need to open the quiz. Reload the game pin now. Okay, Daniel already?
All right.
Yeah, okay. So this is the Kahoot game pin 2473618. So this is the last question for today's presentation. So also same, we will start after 1 minute. don't give up. This is your last chance to win the shopping voucher today. So make sure you're using the name so that we can know who are you, and then when we fill out all the survey form. So everyone already joined? So I will start 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start the quiz. So this is the last question. Also no one up. And this one is the multiple question, multiple answer question. So which is the following are the benefit for central manager? So we have the remote desktop, service on branch endpoint. We have decreased the operating difficulty, low cost of maintenance, to control all the Sangfor endpoint secure engine. Which one is the correct answer? Hurry up, the time getting lesser. Ten seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let we see which is the correct answer. So if the answer is the decreased operation difficulty and low cost of the maintenance. So let's go to see who are the top 3 winners for this quiz. So first is Nurul Hussein. Then second is Asta. Then who are the first prize winner? Is so for the winner, make sure you have fill out the Sangfor survey form so that we can know who you are, and then we can distribute our prize to you. Okay, so I will pass back to.
Okay, so I see there are quite numbers of the Q&A, but I thank you to our team, Wilson and Jeffrey. They already answer for me. All right, so yeah, IPv6 we are spotted, and for code switch, as long as it is a layer 3 code switch, we are able to do the port mirroring. Then it will support in this solution. So if you do have any doubts or any inquiry, feel free to contact us so we can have further discussion onto that. Most welcome. And yeah, really thank you for your time, okay, in this participations. So that's all for our sharing, and thank you. Stay safe. All right, so I'll pass back to the MC, I think. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Daniel C., Mr. Wilson, and Mr. Jeffrey. So with that, we will end our session for today. But just stay tuned for the next TU3 for in the next session. So kepada peserta semua, kita ada satu lagi sesi teknologi update selepas ini.